get your Ouija board, get your Buddah, and hang out with us, Blenderstyle, at the Crossroads while we talk about Bone Thugs and Harmony, East 1999, Eternal, released in 1995. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Snailed it.
So this is a fan pick from the Greater Details podcast. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but this is, Bone Thugs' first full-length album. They did an EP before this. I really got into that. Not at the time. Well, yeah, at the time, because Thuggish Ruggish Bone was on the MTV.
On the MTV?
And I fucking loved it.
I hated the MTV.
I liked all kinds of 90s rap.
Okay.
For sure. And this one definitely was one I was into. And there was tons of videos from this album. I got into it. Lots of people, I think we listened to this, you and me, Casey, back in high school.
I don't remember
not this album, but watching the videos for sure.
I don't remember listening to Bone Thugs, but I do remember them being around, and I don't know where I got it from. I don't know whether it was you or Russ or Chris.
So Chris Blaska listened to a lot of rap. He was the biggest rap influence.
But I don't know that he ever listened to Bone.
See, that's what I was wondering. I don't know.
I don't remember. I know he was big into Snoop and Dr. Dre and Eazy and that stuff. I think this might have been a Russ thing, but I'm not sure.
I mean, if he was into those artists, I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe, yeah.
So this album was the first time I ever heard of Bone Thugs. And I want to say I was about 12 years old, and I heard it from Brendan and Vincent.
Shout out Brendan and Vincent.
Yeah, I don't know. They were a wild, cool bunch. Yeah, I loved it then. It was scary. There was something scary about it.
So that's what really brought me in. It was scary, and there was an occult element, almost satanic, but not really. So I feel like there's that vibe, which I appreciate a lot. But this is darker, dude, and I definitely like it for that reason. The videos had Ouija boards and candles, their crystal balls and stuff like that.
So I don't know where Bone Thugs came in, but I do remember it always being around when we were kids. Although I never got into the videos. Like I said, I wasn't a big MTV fan. I hated it when I was a kid. But I feel like Bone Thugs for me was always an aside to the gangster rap, even though they were in that same genre, because they had this flow and this harmonization that
there's an R&B.
They had this different style that gangster rap at the time didn't have. That was more appealing and more accessible.
Well, it was a rap group, right? So
it's a group.
The reason why you know about Bone Thugs is because they are one of the greatest rap groups of all time.
Facts, bro. I'm glad you're just
it's kind of
coming
like
out
Nirvana or whatever. You know of Nirvana because they were a big thing. Bone Thugs was a pretty big thing, especially when Eazy-E was involved with them. Bone Thugs has worked with Eazy-E, Tupac,
Notorious,
fucking Notorious, Big Pun. They've worked with so many OG motherfuckers.
And Eazy-E produced this album, and he was kind of their mentor leading into this.
I think he was executive producer.
Okay.
And then DJ U-Neek is
the main producer,
bringing so much to the table with this.
Okay.
And the piano playing, I was talking to you guys about this earlier.
Yeah.
I listened to this so many times because we're reviewing it, right? So I want to know it in great detail. And eventually you just start realizing how much piano is being played. Not on the banger tracks necessarily, but some of the other tracks. And it's nice, dude. It's you start to kind of break it down, and there's not a lot of sampling going on like there is on the other rap. There's kind of some live instruments in this, or some real instruments, and I just appreciate it for that.
Yeah, so one of my notes on this is that the samples and the beats that they have, they're very simple and generic, and they do use a lot of live instrumentation on it, which is crazy.
The main instrument is them singing together.
Yeah, the harmonization. Sure.
That's the guitar of the band.
Yeah, and it works very well.
And it's I couldn't conceptualize it for a long time. I'm I don't know what makes Bone Thugs different, and it is that harmony thing.
It's the flow and the harmony.
It's they're doing acapella. acapella, and I think they do. Like
Oh,
I think
for sure.
Dude,
I
I'm
think
sure
they just
this
sit
is
around.
how
And,
this is definitely like how they probably started, was just going back and forth.
I mean, it's like most bands. There's like a couple guys and they get together, blah blah. But once they're together, I think they're just sitting around in a room,
But there was also
just like
this,
jamming and like singing together. And you get that it's a group, dude. Like other
No, for
rap groups
sure.
have features,
Mhm.
and they like and it's rad. But I like that this is a group, not just some rapper in addition. Like, and they all like have this. It's not the same. It's the same style, but they have like different sounds
Mhm.
and different like vibes.
Exactly.
And so you know when the other guy's coming in, but it's still the same Bone Thugs kind of.
I always felt like they were like the Ramones of like hip hop, right? Especially since, you know, they all have like Bone in their names, like the Ramones.
They all have the same
were
haircut.
The Ramones, you know, all of them.
really apt
like,
comparison,
you
bro.
know, Johnny Ramone was, you know, all downstrokes, right? Like Bone Thugs is all this back and forth hip hop, right? That's their downstroke.
Right.
And they do it very well, and they know that they do it very well.
Oh, for sure.
And that's how every song is. And so, like, also very epic, also very good. At times gets jumbling and sometimes starts to sound the same to me on some parts of this.
I agree.
Is that your beef with
Yes,
it?
this is somewhat of my beef. And also because I used to love this, and going back to it, I kind of pick it apart, you know?
Yeah, I've been with it for so long. That
And
now
I
you
still
start-
don't know what the hell they're saying in some parts, you know what I mean? I honestly thought the release before this is better. I think it has just bangers on it.
So-
I know that it's short,
Going into this, I thought that too.
and like I do love this album. I think it's everybody should listen to this album, right?
For sure.
Also, Bone Thugs went on to do other albums that were great. You know, it's not just so.
Oh yeah, the ones after this are good.
So I feel like, kind of to touch on what you guys were saying earlier, there's this harmonization that's going on between all the different vocalists and stuff that wasn't prevalent at the time. It was back in like the early 90s, you had, if there were two people rapping on an album, they traded off almost like in a rap battle
Like
kind of thing.
Regulators, you had like the smooth
You
guy,
had-
and then the
Dr.
the
Dre,
hardcore.
Tupac,
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg.
Where this was kind of cool because it was almost like that choir thing going
It's
on,
like a
where
choir,
somebody
yeah.
would step in and back the person up on the harmonization parts, and the fact that it flows so perfectly and they know exactly when to come in and harmonize the accents and the peaks and the valleys and stuff, it makes it so exciting to actually listen to. Even though this isn't my style of music, I caught myself coming back to this and just like wanting to listen to it over and over again.
I think that's why like just the simple piano shit works,
Mhm.
because you don't really need a lot of instruments.
No, you don't. And like one of the complaints
There's
that
five guys like
that
kind
I've
of singing
seen
together.
online is like that the beats and stuff are simplistic, but I think that's a service to this because I
Yeah,
really think,
well
like
said.
Nathan said, the meat of this is the harmonization between the vocals, and it just makes it so much better.
It's the same thing with Wu-Tang.
Mhm.
If you don't have Method Man, it ain't Wu-Tang. If you don't have fucking Eazy-E, it ain't NWA. Like, that's what's so great about these rap groups.
Yeah.
That they just connected, just the same way with it, even the
Like
you know,
Tribe Called
bands
Quest
or
and-
whatever.
yeah.
You know what
But
I mean?
but
You can't do it
NWA is
without.
a good example of what I'm talking about. So like when we did the NWA review, everybody takes their turn doing their part.
And it's not the same
and
style.
there's no harmony. It's like
It's cool.
It's like a hard cut, next person, hard cut, next
Yeah,
person.
yeah,
Can't
Where this
can't
just,
agree more,
there's
dude.
this amazing.
How can we work off each other?
Yeah, there's this amazing flow and cooperation between everybody on this that just makes it. I honestly, even though it is technically gangster rap, I don't know that I would necessarily classify it as
It's
gangster
hard to
rap.
call it that.
Yeah.
It's not even that. Like some of the lyrics aren't even that violent.
Well, but I feel
mean,
like
they're
a
talking
lot
about papping you, which is
But
my
I
new
feel
favorite.
like I feel like a lot of the lyrical themes are your standard '90s gangster rap themes.
So I wrote this. I said themes as other artists at the time, but deliver in a fresh package.
Exactly.
Like it's like they're definitely talking about like what other artists at this time were doing, but they did it and delivered it in a different type of package. And to me, this sounds more street than any of the other stuff because it's like, hey, we're hanging out and we're fucking shooting the shit, fucking throwing some dice, fucking
First of the
chilling, you know
month,
what I
dude.
mean?
Well, this is something
We're having a
We're
celebration.
grilling, we're like, yeah,
We're not that hard, bro. We're like chilling. This is very like chill. Like I like just chilling and listening to this. Like it has that vibe to it.
Yeah, it's the smoking stuff, dude.
Well, this is also something.
Budsmokers only, bro.
Bud
But
smokers only.
this is also something that you could imagine these guys on the corner busting this stuff
Yeah, for sure.
and like hustling and
The 5 of them together just doing
Yeah,
this,
just
that
doing
would blow
it.
shit away,
and
bro.
like this, that's not something you could think about like most other gangster rap music of the time. Like you're not going to see the guys all standing on the corner
That's
busting
how
their
hip
music
hop
or whatever.
was in rap, though.
And
but I
this
mean,
is
For
just
sure.
something that you could totally see as a flow and like it has that vibe going on to where it's very organic and it's very grassroots kind of.
for sure.
For sure. They're just like sitting around.
Stars aligned.
Yeah, they're like a real.
Wu-Tang Clan, stars aligned.
So some of the more modern rappers, they'll get into the studio, lay down some rhymes and shit like that, and there's a lot of studio engineering going on.
Exactly.
So I watched some like clips of them doing this stuff live. So if you go back and watch old like Bone Thugs like videos, their interviews are awful. They're so high, bro, and they're just like incoherent. You know what I mean? But then they'll perform.
Wait, are they so high? Or are you just too sober to watch it?
Yeah, probably. And they, but they'll do like live performances too on these older videos, and it's like it was what I was expecting. That they were like very gelled and connected, and they could do this stuff. I've talked to some buddies, and they're like they saw Bone more recently, and it's like not as good. But they kind of like the band fell apart. You know what I mean? A little bit.
Yeah, there's a little
lost
bit
member.
of beef and stuff, which
is a bummer, dude. But
yeah.
I mean, at this time, I mean, they're nailing this shit, bro.
Oh, for sure. This album made me wish that I still had a good stereo, although at the same time it sounds good, even on like a generic
production's
entry level
great,
car
dude.
stereo, which I was surprised about because I figured oh, it's going to be a hip hop album. We're going to have like some good subs and a good amp or whatever. But I was surprised at how good it actually sounded just on like.
I think it's before shit got too ridiculous.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what's funny is one of my only beefs with it is like some of the shit's corny. Like they do like an R&B shit for what song is it? It's Buddah Lovers. Buddah Lovers. But you know what's funny is like even though it sucks and it's bad, by like that time it's like kind of relieving.
Yeah.
I kind of love the R&B influence on this. It's pretty rad. I love that they can be talking about fucking murder and it's kind of sexy time at the same time.
Yeah. I will have sex to this again.
My one complaint, or my biggest complaint, I should say, I have a couple, but my biggest one is that there's way too many N-bombs on it, and I can't sing along with it without getting
What's
beat
an
up.
N-bomb? I'm just joking. You can't sing along with it, and you're a lyrics guy.
Yeah, and I can't sing along with it, but also, if I'm cruising through a parking lot with this cranked, and I drive past a bike dude, the dude's like, what the fuck?
I think if you're rolling around, you're listening to Bone Thugs, and somebody hears that, and they know Bone Thugs, you're gonna get this.
Yeah, well, exactly. But
anybody,
but
dude.
more often than not, with the white dude cruising around the freaking.
I'll tell
Bone Thugs, dude.
I'll tell you what. I started listening to this a lot in my car. Windows down, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cruising through a parking lot, though?
Dude, honestly.
Cruising down the street in my 6'4".
Go through a Walmart parking lot and look at all the crazy looks you get.
I'm not embarrassed to listen to Bone Thugs.
No, I'm not embarrassed either. It's just the looks that people give you.
Just kind of like how you said you're going to listen to this with your windows down, right? I love that I can hear the freedom and the darkness of the streets in this shit. I love it, dude. I give this a 4.0.
Nice, dude.
I think this is a solid record. It's not, I know some people might disagree with me, but I think that's a solid rating for this. I love this.
Do you like the EP more?
I enjoy, I just enjoy those songs a little better. I like that I can also differentiate them a little better on that than I can this one. Like I said, I feel like sometimes maybe.
Do you think that's a plus that's like they're like more different and unique and this
a little bit? I just, like I said, there's some things that, like I said, I still don't even know what they're saying in some parts. I know I could like look up the lyrics and stuff, but
even trying to read along with how quick they're going, though, you're
you listen to black metal.
But yeah, exactly. I mean, I know I sing the wrong words to all my favorite songs all the time.
But there's some debate, and I talked to my girlfriend about this. She's like, they're throwing in like syllables or like ba when it's not necessary.
Yeah.
And I just like I started meticulously going through it, and they don't really.
No,
everything's like every syllable is planned out, and then they just the thing is to put more syllables in the bar,
For sure.
and they're just like, and so it's like triplets, and then they'll go into like 16th notes,
They
and
vocalize in a drum pattern.
Oh, dude,
it's very like and I love that technical part of it.
Uh-huh. It's like, remember when like back in like the day when Jack was really into Cradle of Filth, and he would constantly brag about how Danny wrote all his lyrical content in like a Victorian poetry style. It's the same kind of thing. So that's why I gave it a 4 out of 5. I feel like it was an awesome album with really cool feel and flow. I feel like the beats were kind of simple, but at the same time, the vocalization and the harmonies between them made it really exciting and different for the time. And it was just overall a really good album. I was really surprised that I liked it as much as I did.
Is this your favorite rap group?
I wouldn't say it's my favorite rap group.
I would say it's my favorite rap group.
Really?
And that's why I give it a 4.6 out of 5.
Nice.
Damn.
I love this shit, dude. I thought the EP was better.
Wu-Tang forever, bro.
Just calm down. I thought the EP before this was better, Creeping on a Come Up, and I listened to that a lot. No Surrender is a banger. We just listened to that outside. And so when Bernie, your homeboy, recommended, I was like, you want us to do the album? I kind of wanted to do the EP. I'm like, you know, he wants us to do the album. So I picked the album. I'm glad I did. I like it more than the EP. This is the best rap group in my opinion. I love this shit, dude.
Okay.
I started listening to like other Bone Thug stuff and watching them like just do freestyle stuff on Instagram and like YouTube or whatever. And I just liked it more and more. And I just keep listening to it. And I just could not get enough of this. It was fucking rad. So shout out to Bernie at the Greater Details podcast. Nathan, you were a guest on episode 11.
Yeah, I was, man. I've known Bernie for many years, man. He's a cool dude. He's been a part of the punk and hardcore scene for many years. He's a
So what's that podcast about, the Greater Details? What do they do?
Wow, you know, what I like about his show is he just has guests on.
And just kind of let it flow.
Yeah, it's a conversation. They just have a conversation. That's what I love about it. I mean, he's definitely had people mainly from Tehachapi where we kind of grew up, you know. So it's kind of cool that every guest that he's had, I've kind of somewhat known almost sometimes, you know what I mean?
Because it's like nice. A tight vibe.
So like whenever like they'll tell a story or talk about something or a time around that time, you know, I don't know, it brings back some memories and shit. It's cool.
So I listened to the episode that you were on, and it was very entertaining.
I had fun, man. It was really cool.
Because you guys talk about some shit that had me cracking up. And then I went back and listened to some other episodes, and some of it's like kind of dark and like grit. And like,
he's real with it, dude.
And it's real as shit. So thanks again to Bernie at the Greater Details podcast for the suggestion. He might be a guest on the show. Subscribe and find out. And leave a comment and let us know what else we should listen to. That was Bone Thugs and Harmony, East 1999, Eternal.